The following Radio Gunk broadcast deals with subjects that some viewers might find disturbing. It is intended for mature audiences only. And now, enjoy the show.
You're so creepy when you do that, I have to tell you.
Greetings, friends. So welcome to another episode of our wonderful, beautiful show that we call Things That Go Gunk in the Night. And I'm here with Xavier, and tonight we are doing the Slender Man. And who he is, what it is, and how the internet influences young minds and sometimes turns them into basically murderous killer children, right?
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome.
All right, Zachary.
Yeah. How's everybody doing?
So we want you to know that we have gone through a multitude of different tests with our mics and with our stuff and just everything. And you just need to know that, I am in zombie apocalypse land and my internet really, really sucks. And we decided that that's really the biggest issue that I have, is that my internet kind of sucks. So if any stutters or there's any kind of issues, it's all on me. And then, Xavier will just take over the show. And that's it. I hate when you do shit like that because you know that I have to repeat it.
Hello, everybody. So today's episode deals with the whole, everybody grew up, wherever you grew up in this beautiful country, everybody had a boogeyman. Everybody had that one, whether your culture is Latino or you're European or you're a chowderhead or you're from the South. Everybody had a boogeyman, and everybody had a version of what happens to bad children if they don't behave. But it's interesting is that most of these cultures kind of pull from the same heartstrings of where they're trying to get the kid to be good, and if you don't do this, this is going to happen to you. It's going to be horrible. You're going to go to hell, boy.
It's usually your grandmother, though, too.
It's
She's
usually
so
a relative or something.
Grandma's all fucked up.
But one of the reasons I think we decided to do Slender Man is all those urban legends and boogeymen are from like generations ago. This is like the first real legitimate boogeyman from the internet era. Now, we all know, I think if you're familiar with Slender Man, that it was started on Creepypasta Wiki. Creepypasta, that's it. And they had some sort of contest to come up with a modern day kind of a boogeyman story. And this guy created Slender Man. So we all know it's all like fake and stuff. But something really interesting happened after that is that it got a life of its own. Something that is so preposterously fake ended up causing some really bad things to happen. And this is going to be one of those things where this generation of kids will be telling their grandchildren about Slender Man, kind of the same way as your uncle told you about the boogeyman under your bed or in your closet. So it's really interesting to be, to witness the birth of basically an urban legend. And there are numerous crimes that were committed, heinous, horrible crimes that were committed, and it's
in the name of Slender Man.
In the name of Slender Man. So yeah.
So I wanted to tell you a little something. That the name Creepypasta comes from creepy, and then putting together the words copy and paste. Because a lot of viral things were copied and pasted text from somewhere else, and it was called Copypasta, which was on 4chan. And so then when they made Creepypasta, it was meant to be something where creepy stuff is copied and pasted from elsewhere.
Yes, because the original meme that was created, because I believe he did too. All he did is find old turn of the century pictures, kind of like black and white, and he just pasted his version of what he thought was creepy. Yeah, you never heard of this? Is it a TikTok challenge? No, none of this was ever created to create any sort of havoc. It was just literally, it's like Reddit has no sleep. It's like where people post kind of like, their own versions of, like
Kind
horror.
of like sitting around the campfire and
Kind of
telling
like
a
sitting around the
scary
campfire.
story.
Kind of like how we like to do.
Exactly.
And so none of this was meant to hurt anybody. Someone writes some cheesy story about, running into a stranger at 2:00 in the morning and then having, oh, thank you, Ida, and having horrible things happen to you afterwards because of it. Or, there's hundreds of really cool YouTube short horror movies out there that you can watch in 5-10 minutes. And it was like that. It was just like supposed to be almost like a goof where everybody just pretended this is like a real thing, but knowing it's not. Horrible things happen because of it. And there's no rhyme or reason as to why, but
what is the psychology behind it? What is the psychology behind everybody being fully aware that a creepypasta, thank you so much.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you, Shane. Everybody is so aware that these are,
a meme. It's like
meant to
Grumpy
be
Cat. It's
full
like Grumpy
stories.
Cat, basically. Yeah, it's really. Does anybody really believe that cat was grumpy? No, he just had a facial deformity, But everybody kind of ran with it, and it became a cute thing. And this is kind of like the polar opposite of that. This is a creepy image, and everybody kind of go, "Oh, that's a creepy image." And people start doing fake little videos where, they're just happen to be filming at the middle of nowhere, and oh, there's Slender Man. So it's kind of like a goof, but no, I haven't seen the documentary on HBO. I know there's a movie that tanked, and there's people have obviously done their take on this, considering it's been out now for like what 10 years almost.
Right.
But it's just one of those things where for some reason it resonated deeply, and what we're going to learn are mentally disturbed children, and we're talking about 12, 14 years old. Someone that you would think was into Harry Potter or Twilight back then, or whatever it was, or those Korean boy bands. Like at the age where those kids should be doing that, they ended up somehow bonding with this dark image and doing really bad things because of it.
Yeah, I wanted to just throw up onto the screen, if I can, the very first image that they did of Slender Man was a story, exactly as what Xavier is saying. There's this, this tall, thin man who is coming after children. And the very first picture is what you see on the screen right now. So it's this kind of very faded image of a very tall man in a suit with long arms, and kids kind of going away from it. So this was the very, very, very first image that they had of Slender Man, and this is what started it. So people with good Photoshop and what have you decided that they would do that, and they would put. It's so delicious to put the fear of somebody coming to get you into the hearts of children.
Shane,
And most of the time you do it so that they'll go to
hang on.
sleep or so they'll eat their food. What?
Shane, I just wanted you to know the crackling is definitely an internet thing that's going on over at Mo. So we're just going to have to truck through it.
Yeah, it's me.
So don't.
I said it at the beginning of the show. I'm having some internet issues, and God knows I have tried.
Yeah.
I've tried
sadly,
absolutely everything.
and she has. She can bust her own balls more than she has, right? And sadly, I sound really amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? The sad thing is, if that Xavier was here in this room with me right now, he probably still wouldn't be able to fix it. And Xavier can fix anything.
I can.
Yeah, you would have been able to. You might have been able to fix
Nonetheless, you know what? It's all good. This is like watching Bela Lugosi on a 13-inch black and white TV with the static and everything. It's gonna consider it atmosphere.
Yes, it's atmospheric. That's exactly what it is. It's nicely, creepily atmospheric. There's another picture I wanted to show, just because I'm not sure whether or not you were putting in pictures of Slender Man in your present package.
No. By the way, guys, we're going to do a nice long video of the interrogation of these two young ladies who...
oh, it's delicious.
Who absolutely... It's almost jaw-dropping.
Yeah. This is the second picture that was done of Slender Man during
With the tentacles.
same creepypasta. Right. So there he is in the background with these tentacles.
Gary Puppet could have done better.
Kind of grow out of him. And then it just took on a life of its own, where, there were videos made where there's this scary, thin man who's coming after you.
I believe they describe him as a humanoid. We don't know
children.
if it was meant to be human.
Well, like a mysterious man on our site uses an avatar that is kind of similar to that look.
Ooh, you're right.
Right? But I know that that's a popular YouTube guy who dresses in a suit and has no face. I'm not really
Just
sure.
like the Billy
what he's
Idol
called.
song.
Yeah. Okay, maybe not. All right, so where do we want to start with this whole thing? Do we want to start with
I think we start with the video. We'll pause it along the way and get the marshmallows and the fire up the fireplace, guys. We're going to go to a
fireplace and
so
let's talk about these fucked up kids.
We're going to start off at the beginning with the very first crime that happened in the name, and it's the most notorious. And we start off after the crime has started with a 911 call from a bicyclist who just happened to come across the victim of these two girls, and everything will get explained along the way. So we'll do that, and then we'll start after that with their interrogation.
Well, are we going to do like any lead up to who they are? Or do we just want to hear that 911 call
We
and then we'll come back
have
to it?
We'll call Morgan and Anissa, and you have Bella. So Morgan is the girl who actually did the stabbing. Anissa, who was the best friend, actually, Morgan and Bella, the victim, were best friends since 4th grade. In fact, Bella befriended Morgan almost out of pity because she had no friends, and she was one of those kids that just sat in the playground by themselves. So Bella was very magnanimous to give her friendship to Morgan. And then you have Anissa, who later moved in about a year later to the same apartment complex that Morgan does. And so they kind of hit it off. So it became a whole thing of three besties, and they hit it off. And apparently everything was kind of okay until creepypasta kind of happened. And so we'll start off with the 911 phone call. So if you want to hit play, Mo.
Okay, I'm going to add it to our stream.
She appears to be what? Stabbed.
All right, here we go. Let me start from the beginning. Hang on.
911. What's the address of your emergency?
Waukesha County, Lindy. I'm transferring over a caller on Big Bend at the dead end just south of Rivera. And he came upon a 12-year-old female. She appears to be stabbed. Are you still there?
Yes. Hi, sir. So are you with this 12-year-old female?
Yeah, she says she's having trouble breathing. She said she was stabbed multiple times.
Stabbed multiple times?
Yeah.
Okay, sir, are you with her right now?
Yes.
Is she awake?
She's awake.
Is she breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing. She said she
Is
can
she
take
awake? Is
shallow
she
breaths.
breathing?
She's alert.
Okay, stay with her. We're sending the police department. Don't hang up, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Hold on just a minute, sir. We're sending officers.
Okay.
Is there any assailant around?
I didn't even look. I don't see anybody.
Is there any bleeding going on?
Her clothing has got blood on it.
Where are the wounds? Do you see where the wounds are?
No, I don't know if I should be rolling her over and checking or not.
Okay, just stay with her and just let me know if she's conscious or alert.
Can I just say something? I fucking hate these 911 calls. I mean, you know, we've done what, 6 of these shows now? And I swear to you, I always feel like the people on 911 are like mentally challenged. And I know it's their job to keep you online, make sure that everything's okay, make sure that the surroundings are okay, things like that.
Our
But
job.
you know what? There's not a shot in hell that I would go over to a bloodied person to see if they're breathing. Like, I would never do that. I just can't even imagine the PTSD of bad enough that you see somebody like bleeding and like dying, let alone going over
what-
to them and seeing if they're fucking breathing. Like, I would never do that. Never. You know? Is there an assailant in the area? Yeah. There's a kid sitting here with like, you know,
I
a submachine
believe
gun.
That question. By the way, happy birthday, Cindy Lou Who.
Oh, happy birthday, Cindy Lou.
Happy birthday. Give me money for drugs.
What it is when you do when they are trained to do CPR, the first thing you're supposed to do is if you see someone unconscious on the floor, is you need to make sure that whatever made them unconscious isn't going to do that same to you, being a down wire, a power cable.
Don't even care. Don't even
Okay,
care. If
okay,
I'm riding my bicycle
I
and I see a
understand.
dead person,
I
I'm not going
understand
over
that.
to them.
I understand. I've pulled people out of the middle of the road.
CPR, pish PR. I don't care.
Okay, nonetheless, so I think by making the person who's calling, who's clearly probably, you know, there's a lot of emotions going on. You see
Stressed.
a dead kid, basically, is to make sure that, hey, whatever stabbed her might be ready to stab you. So you might want to check your six, as they say.
Yeah, head for Z Hills. You know what? There was a stabbed kids on the road, and I'm now about 2 miles away and have no interest whatsoever with
Okay,
ever
well,
being involved with this again.
That's a Mo thing.
Oh, total Mo thing.
You know, that's okay. You know, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with
I won't even go to a funeral, you guys. Like, seriously, I don't want to see dead. I don't have a thought about dead. You all know my living above a funeral parlor story. I have no thoughts about the dead. None. They're gone. I don't want to see them. Not going. I won't even go to a hospital if I can help
I hope
it.
I don't ever again, but you know, it happens. You never know.
All right.
But
let me
anyway,
continue.
the operator was doing their due diligence and basically saying, "Hey, that person might still be there." So just look.
Yeah, but she's not telling them, to stay away or anything.
No, well, okay, well, let's
Okay.
continue.
I'm sorry, I digressed a little bit. It's just it bothers me so much when they tell somebody to go over and see if they're breathing or not. It's like, no, I am not. Or no, even better than that is where they say, so how many people are in the house where the murder occurred? And it's like, I don't fucking know. I saw blood. I saw a person. I saw a person on floor. I don't know. I
saw
don't
England,
care.
I saw France.
What?
I saw England. I saw France.
Oh, be quiet. All right, let me finish.
Or stops breathing anything. Hold on, I'm going to talk to the ambulance. Police are also en route.
I'm bothering you at all? You want shade? Okay. Who did that to you? Or don't you want to talk? If you better not to.
Do you know what happened to Bella?
Okay, so let's
Okay.
pause this for introduce
All
it.
right.
So that was very much the 911 call, and so now the two kids, Morgan and Anissa, who perpetrated the crime, what they did is they stabbed her, and the last thing that Bella said before she collapsed was, "I trusted you. Like, I hate you." And so they start giving her advice: lay down, you'll bleed slower. And so she's on the ground and essentially dying. So now the two girls are like, "We're gonna go get help. Feet don't fails me now."
Yeah, but
And
the
they-
other one said to her, she's like, what are you talking about? We're not going to get help. We're just leaving her there to die.
Clearly,
What's wrong with you?
clearly, they had no intentions to get help.
Right. So
They-
5
in
hours
fact-
later,
So-
they're walking. And they wind up on the side of the road somewhere.
They actually, what they did is they started walking in the direction that they assume was the castle in the middle of the forest where Slender Man lived, and they walked for 5 hours and were found on the side of the road.
What was the show that we
They have
decided?
they've been detained, and this is Morgan. Morgan is the person who actually stabbed her. So now, one thing that you will notice about Morgan is her lack of emotions. She asks about her friend Bella as the same way as if I was asking Mo who won the Dodger game.
Right,
yesterday.
and Bella is actually not her real name. Bella is just
Yeah.
the name that
That's
that
what
was
they
like
called
her
her.
nickname.
We'll
That's
call
what
her
they called
Bella.
her.
Yeah, absolutely. So
But
press
yeah,
play.
this whole interrogation, and again we'll go into like what the law is in terms of interrogation of juveniles in this state, which basically is that you don't need to have a parent present when you interrogate them, and it comes into play a little bit once we find out what happens to them after the stabbing. Okay.
It's a little dodgy
Oh,
rule,
Bella.
but yeah.
Your friend?
She's not Anissa. She's the one who was stabbed.
It's Steph. I'm not really sure.
Is she dead?
I don't know. She was taken to the hospital. Maybe no.
What? I was just wondering.
So you like Bella pretty much? You ever been mad at her?
She was my only friend for a long time because
Why would you hurt your only friend?
it was necessary.
Pause.
What do you think necessary?
I don't know.
Okay, so it was necessary. The excuse that the girls use is that what you're looking at now, that's Anissa. She's the second girl. Anissa was the one that was really into Slender Man, and she believed that she was actually communicating with Slender Man telepathically, and she claims that she saw him on numerous occasions. She basically told Morgan that because she was already talking to Slender Man, that now they are both on his radar, and now they need to become proxies for him in order to prove to the world that he does exist. And by doing so, it's like they will prevent any sort of harm to come to them and their family. So when she said we had to, is because they at that point believed that if they didn't go ahead and commit this murder, that they were going to pay. He was going to come after them, kind of like the Mexican cartel kind of shit.
Yeah, but
And
see, so they're sacrificing their best friend. though.
Absolutely.
They're sacrificing their best friend to a fictional character.
Well, you know what's really interesting about this is, and not interesting like, woohoo, but like everybody pretty much was telling them, dude, this is fake. And they were that dude in the room, the moon landing is fake. Like the earth is flat. Slender Man is real kind of shit. So they had to be that special person that not only believed in this shit that everybody knew was preposterous, but they were going to prove that it was real.
So they kind of just walked around for 5 hours trying to find that paradise to live with Slender Man in the forest,
Yeah.
where he would not harm them or their families, and they could live happily ever after with him.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we were talking about Nosferatu.
Yeah. Okay, right.
This was their Christmas town.
Yes, it's such a great fucking analogy, because if any of you have watched Nosferatu, which if you haven't, I highly recommend.
2 seasons.
2 seasons of just delicious creepiness. And one of the basic tenets of the show was that he would lure children into his gigantic
Rolls Royce, like
Rolls-Royce.
1920 Rolls Royce.
Right, and they would start to die and age as children. Like their teeth would start falling out, and they get rings under their eyes. It was so
Little
creepy.
vampire teeth came out.
Right, little vampires, and but they were going to Christmas Town. They were going somewhere where everything is happy all the time.
it's literally Christmas for all eternity. All the candy, ice creams, roller coasters,
Right.
fun rides that you could ever want for all eternity. So now these Anissa and Morgan didn't exactly say that was going to happen, but it seems like that was kind of the direction that they were going to go. They're going to go hang out with this homie forever.
Okay, so now here we go to the second child, and let's just please keep in mind these are 12-year-olds, okay? So,
Sixth graders.
at 12, I literally was, I didn't even leave my block unless I was on my bicycle or if my sister was with me, I mean, yes, okay, everybody knows I went to Studio 54 at 13, but literally I was still a friggin' kid, and I can't even imagine that this is something that I would concoct with my friends and believe. Xavier and I were talking about even like Ouija boards, when you were a kid and around this age group where you started to think that whatever the Ouija board was telling you was true. And, you always knew in the back of your brain that I'm the one manipulating this. I'm the one saying what I want it to say. I mean, we all knew that, right?
Well, you know what's interesting? Because I know the lion's share of people who are on our side and here we're all, probably plus or minus 10 years apart. So we all kind of had that same kind of mentality when it came to the world around us. And then, but there isn't one person here who hasn't wondered what their life would have been like had they had the internet at their fingertips in their pocket 24 hours a day like kids these days do. And how, like, would I have been a complete fuck up if I could literally just spend my formative years
your waking hours
on Pornhub and video games?
Oh my God, your dick would have fallen off by now.
You know, right? So we think like, well, what would have happened to me if I had grown up in this environment, rather where I went and played baseball with my friends for 12 hours a day, and football. It's like, so we're witnessing like the basically the genesis of that generation's choice, decision making based on the fact that they have an endless amount of information at their fingertips. So now we're going to listen to Anissa, who, unlike Morgan, seems to be shitting her pants. Now, once again, they're both 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
Mental illnesses is it tends to kind of start is starting to exhibit
just so
sociopathic
I'm losing you a little bit.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Okay, I'll repeat myself. So at puberty, you're gonna have some of these symptoms kind of manifest themselves, and these girls are in that age range. And Morgan went from being the weird kid to being the dark kid, and she starts exhibiting the beginnings of schizophrenia. So with that, let's go to Anissa, whose demeanor is quite different than Morgan's.
Okay.
Morgan, David, Peyton, or Bella, as people call her. They call her Bella? Okay. You go to school with Peyton? Yes, but I'll tell you what happened. So, there's this website called the Creepypasta Wiki. Okay. It's full of, like, horror stories that are meant to purposely scare you through, like, online literature and all that. Okay. And there's one of them called Slenderman. It's like really Slenderman. It's Slender? Slenderman. Oh, Slenderman. Like skinny guy. Yeah. Okay. And he has these proxies or servants, as people call them. Okay. Masky and tight. And Morgan said, "Hey, Anissa, we should be proxy."
I'm sorry. Can you explain to me what they're talking about?
Basically, they start digging in on Slenderman and proxies. So, okay, if you buy into this whole Slenderman mythology, Slenderman is a paranormal being. He's a humanoid-like figure who doesn't really have a physical presence in this world. The only way he can create havoc is to have the people who follow him or act as his proxies or avatars almost. So his evil is manifested through the physical actions of living things rather than his nebulous paranormal existence.
I like that sentence, even if I don't understand it. Okay, here we go.
I was like, okay, how would we do that? And that was around end of December, beginning of January. All right, so back in December, January, Morgan. Yeah.
When did they commit this act of heinous
2014,
crime?
like May 31st, 2014,
Okay,
or something like that.
so these
I could be
fuckers
off
have
a couple
been
days.
looking at this and planning it, and
For months.
okay.
Told you, like, hey, we should be proxies, type thing. Yeah. And you said what? Like, I said, okay, how would we do that? And she said, we have to kill Bella. Okay.
So is this kind of like Instagram whores being like ambassadors for products? Like what is the benefit? I mean, the fact that in December they're thinking, well, obviously we have to kill our best friend, Bella.
Because they're literally like hypnotized and mesmerized by this whole fake persona that is a Slender Man. They want it to be real as much as like a 7-year-old that everybody told them that Santa Claus isn't real, and it's like November, and it's like, oh shit, if I say that Santa Claus is not real, I probably am not going to get that play set for
Right.
Christmas. So literally, these girls, keep in mind, they're not very sociable with their peers. They literally hang out with themselves, so their whole emotional development is probably stunted. So while most kids their age are starting to move on to other things, they're still, because they haven't had that peer interaction with people their age, they're bought full into this whole Slender Man shit. So I think that's why they're still adamant about proving that he does exist.
Yeah, and we're going to come back just a little bit later on into how the other one's father was also bought into his daughter's obsession with Slender Man, and it just kind of goes to show you that, okay, granted, some parents, like the Columbine parents, may or may not know that their kids are building friggin' arsenals in the friggin' basement and have no idea. But 12-year-olds, I think you have control a little bit of their internet usage and what they do. No,
listen, my friend's kids were totally into Harry Potter. They were so into that Harry Potter life. They knew it was obviously a little novel for little kids, but so as a parent, I think like you think, oh, your kids, how cute that they're a Slender Man, blah blah blah. I don't think anybody would believe that anybody that they love would literally try to murder another person. Let alone someone at such a young age.
Don't forget, babe, that Harry Potter, in many, many states, school districts tried to get the books out of the libraries because they thought they were occult and witchcraft.
Yeah, I mean, those are the weirdos.
So it's all kind of random, just in terms of what people think of something. But something like this, that's like, I mean, even when I was looking at it with like this tall, scary thing next to like a child, you kind of think to yourself, that's not really something I want my child to actually be involved in. But okay, I'm digressing a little bit. Let's go back to Anissa and see what she has to say.
Do you know why she said that? Like, why she said? Because we had to supposedly prove ourselves worthy to Slender. We played around a little bit. Morgan kind of started freaking out a little bit, so I said, Bella, I need to talk to Morgan. She's freaking out a little bit. What was she freaking out about? Killing. From what I read on the Creepypasta Wiki, it's easier to kill people when they're either asleep or unconscious.
Okay, see? So this goes back to like a creepypasta thing where kind of like, I can't remember what that website was that was like very political and people saying all sorts of shit on there that people would believe that they actually wound up having to kill it off. I can't remember what it was. But this is one of those perfect examples where moderation of a site is imperative. Because, is
Even
nobody
when-
realizing that, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds are reading this and reading into it is actually more what I'm trying to say.
What's really interesting about that is because you have the majority of people that are digesting this fiction perfectly grounded in reality, but you have these two young ladies, perfect storm, both of them borderline mental illness, and they're just incapable of separating reality from fiction. So, I mean, it's kind of like, what do I entertain people who create fiction for my site, or do I think of everybody's well-being and just cut it off?
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, I mean, I think it's different for us because, we have such control over our website because we only allow in a minimal amount of people.
Yeah, I understand.
So that we can keep control of it. But something like this with tens of thousands of people.
But you're
when a
soliciting
little girl is saying,
you're soliciting people's own personal fiction. So
Right.
people are going to tell stories, and they're going to come up at shit from their own personal point of view and experience, or their imagination in this case. And this kid that created the Slender Man, he didn't do a whole lot more than what little Buddy does, or like all these other photoshoppers on our site.
Right.
He just created something that rather
thought would
than
be
that was
creepy.
humor based. Yeah, just try to kind of
humor based. It's fucking creepy. It's meant to be scary.
No, from our site, instead of it being humor based, it was supposed to evoke creepy feelings.
Did a good job. All right, let's continue.
And it's also easier if you do not look them in the eyes. I asked Bella if she could put herself to sleep, because when you look into a person's eyes, you can see yourself, and you don't want to be killing yourself, supposedly. So you don't look in their eyes. When they're sleeping or unconscious, they
Who
can't
learns this at
scream,
12?
and
Sorry.
They go around to make it harder.
Okay.
Who learns this at 12?
This is something that is very common with people who are sociopaths. Really classic example is Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. One of his victims, he is a lady who he sexually assaulted and murdered, and I think she tried to fight back, and he gouged her eyes out.
Oh, nice.
And one of the things that people who have that kind of mental illness, the eyes tend to freak them out. And it's like the whole idea that it's kind of like if someone's staring at you, they kind of summarize that it's kind of like you're forced to kind of look at the terror that you're creating. The eyes are very expressive. The eyes are like the soul.
They're right.
So by eliminating the eyes, you eliminate some of that guilt. And if you listen to Anissa, she's not sympathetic at all towards her victim. She's talking about how it's going to make her feel, how it's going to make Morgan feel. Thank you, Phil. So she's talking about it's making it easier for her. So even though she has a little bit more, she sounds definitely more nervous, she's still basically just thinking about herself.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So then Morgan called me over to where she was standing, which was by the sink. Okay. So then she said, can you kind of knock her out? Because when I stand up for her every now and then, because Morgan's prime target for bullies at school, especially Devin.
And you should try to knock Bella out. Bella got all mad and stuff, but...
All right, so we're back at
Morgan. Yeah, so
Morgan.
It's
How
kinda,
many hours of tape did you go through to come to the...
More than one. But I try to parallel it as to one version of the story versus the other version of the story. And as I was telling Mo earlier, even though both of these girls have mental illness to some degree or the other, they both seem to paint a picture that flatters them more than their buddy. Like they're both essentially throwing each other under the bus. One thing, Anissa, what they did is they went to a park, And the only reason they were allowed to go to a park because it was Morgan's birthday. So the mother allowed them to go to the park. They went to these common brick bathrooms that you see at every local municipality park. And when they went in, they decided, we're going to go into a stall, a toilet stall, because there's drains. So when we kill Bella, the blood will just drain down the drain. It'll be so much easier, you know. So they, you know, and Bella was very agreeable. So she loved her friends. So she, like, they were acting weird, but she's used to them acting weird. So they all go into a bathroom stall. And so Anissa really is supposed to be the person that knocks Bella out to make it easier for the two of them. And so what she did is she grabbed her by the forehead and smashed her head into the concrete brick behind her. And rather than Bella running and screaming, she's like, ow, like, what, crazy, why the fuck do you do that? And so they thought it was going to be like in the movies where you just kind of slap someone, they become unconscious. Clearly that's not reality, and Bella did not become unconscious. So they had to regroup and figure out another plan. So press play.
Oh my God. You know, I think that's one of the reasons that I love the fact that I'm, you know, half Puerto Rican, because I would have beat the shit out of somebody who slammed my fucking head into like a cinder block or
On
toilet.
a shitter.
Right? I mean, I would have absolutely beat the living shit out of her.
Okay, so here we go.
A little bit of
I
a
was
pussy.
pacing in circles, singing a song for Anissa. I didn't pick it, so I don't know. I guess it is closed off from the rest of the park, but it would be very, very easy. I think she has some flaws in her thinking skills. So, obviously, I didn't choose to live. So I kind of went like that to her forehead, banged her head up against the concrete. Okay. And then she was just like, excuse you, pushed my hand away. So I said, sorry, I got bored and I needed something to do. Plus, my hands got really finicky. I lied.
So do you think that hurt her, or did it seem like it hurt her?
It didn't seem like it.
So you hit her slightly in the forehead and her head hit the wall. And you were doing this to knock her out so you guys could kill her in there?
Yeah.
Basically, and you asked her to fall asleep so you could kill her in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
How
like
cute.
screaming. That's one parent can't be.
Oh my God, you're so cute, Anissa.
I couldn't do it in there. Morgan kind of explained, like, Slender and Proxy and all that to her, to Bella, while we were in the bathroom stall.
So Morgan hands you the knife?
And told me to keep it concealed.
Where is Bella at that time?
We went in one of the bigger stalls.
Mm-hmm.
So Bella, like, say the door is here. Bella was standing in the corner like this. And then Morgan pulls her forward, and then Morgan crouches behind her, and Bella crouches in front of her, and then Morgan held Bella's arms back. Like,
what was she trying to do?
She was like trying to restrain her from moving.
And what did Bella think of it?
Her facial expression was confused, but she didn't say anything. So then after that, I say, hey guys, why don't we go take a walk around the block? And that's when I pointed out to Morgan the bushes, the trees and bushes and all that, and say, you can take her in there and do the deed. After we go into the woods, we say we're going to play a hide and seek. And Morgan is going to be a seeker. So we hide. I tell Bella to lay down face first in the dirt.
So you
under her
suggested,
stomach.
okay, so you suggested to take a walk around the block, and you pointed out the woods to Morgan and said,
Am I the crazy one thinking that if I was Bella, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what? Why am I a party to this? And you know, call me crazy, but
Crazy.
I'm gonna believe. Okay, I'm gonna believe that I bet you, and it's not revealed here, and it probably never will be, but I bet you there were other times between like December and what did you say this was? May?
May
Where they
30th,
probably were
which
all together and
if
they
you
thought about like maybe smothering her or putting a pillow over her fucking head and stabbing her in the head. You know what I mean? Like I think.
keep in mind, this was
Yeah.
Morgan's 12th birthday. The day before, she was
Oh,
still
lucky her.
11.
Yeah.
Think about that. Essentially, you have an 11-year-old committing a murder. Think about that. So I think.
No, I can't think about that. I really
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is insanity. People are asking because they came in a little bit late here. Basically, what we're talking about now is two little girls, 12 years old. So one of them, it was their 12th birthday. So literally just 11 a couple of days before this. And they plotted
couple?
the murder of their friend, whose name is Bella. That's what they called her. That was her nickname. And they plotted the murder of their friend. So what they decided to do was go to a local park, which is apparently very foresty, right? And they were going to kill her as an offering to Slender Man, because if they do that, A, Slender Man won't harm their family, and B, they'll be able to go and live in the forest with him. Am I getting this right?
That's so neat. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's basically where we're at for Chris, who just came in the middle of our dissertation here. And what we're listening to now is
Let's
after
answer,
5 hours
Chris,
of them roaming.
just so you know, so you won't wonder. In the state that this happened, it is perfectly legal for the police to interrogate a child without their parents being present. The mother,
Right.
I think Alinisa's mother said she didn't think that was legal up until this happened. So here we go.
Yeah, well, too fucking bad.
We could do deep there.
Okay.
And then, she says, I'm not laying on my stomach in dirt. It's all squishy and there are twigs and sharp rocks everywhere.
So you're gonna play hide and seek, right?
Mhm.
Play hide and seek, and then she was supposed to be the seeker, so to keep her eyes from being to see where you guys ran, you want her to lay down in the dirt?
No, Morgan was the seeker
Oh.
and Bella and I were hiding.
Okay, so you told her a place to hide.
Mhm. And
And why did you want her to lay down in the dirt?
so that I could sit on her chest and well, so that I could pin her down and get it done and over with, and then we could leave.
You're gonna pin her down?
Mm-hmm. Morgan told me to pin her down.
Okay. And
So she said no, so I kind of pushed her forward and sat on her hip, and then she said, ow, I can't breathe, ow, ow, ow. Then I got off because she was making a lot of noise.
was she kneeling already or something? Or
Yeah, she was kneeling, and then I pushed her. She was kneeling like this
okay, hiding.
thing with flowers and all that.
Okay.
I was standing right here. I pushed her over,
Okay.
so she's like this now.
Okay.
And then I sit right here on her hip while she's like that.
Okay.
And then she started complaining that she couldn't breathe, so I got off of her because she was making a lot of noise.
Okay.
With friends like this, who needs fucking enemies? Seriously. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's dark. Let's continue.
It is dark, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't even fucking care what people think, but I don't think Bella's the brightest bulb on the fucking porch either. Not for nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Then what happened next?
And I told Morgan that she's not laying down, and then she said, tackle her and I'll stab her. And then
Now, there was a time when
This is Anissa.
Morgan gave you the knife.
and said that she couldn't do it. 'Cause
When was that?
it was like before,
Heidi?
it was like after.
Sorry, I just wanted to put this back up again, and you're probably not going to see most of it because of the pause thing. Do 11-year-olds use the word conceal? I mean, obviously she did, but that word strikes me as weird for her to say. It's so true. I don't know what 12-year-olds think in this time and age, but I bet you they read so much on what they needed to do in order to commit this crime. I'm not necessarily sure if they thought about the after effects of it, but
Yeah,
but yeah, I think they did a lot of
Sunshine and
research
Lollipops.
with Sunshine and Lollipops. Yeah, you're right.
I tackled Bella and sat on her hip.
Okay. So then, so you tell Morgan she's not laying down, is that what it happened?
And then she said, okay, tackle. Okay, tackle her. Then I tackle her.
Yeah.
I get up, and then Morgan hands me the knife and says, I can't do it. You know where all the soft spots are. Like, I only know where soft spots are because I used to watch Doomsday Preppers, and it said that a hard blow to, like, the stomach or the throat with, like, a sucker in between your fingers can do some serious damage.
A sucker meaning like a knife or something?
No, a sucker being an actual lollipop.
Oh. Okay.
And then...
Oh, I'm sorry. So
apparently Doomsday Preppers will teach you how to sock someone in the esophagus with a sucker.
with a lollipop.
A lollipop.
Would that be a Dum Dum
No,
or
you know what?
a genuine Tootsie Pop? Like, what are we talking?
You know
here?
what was really kind of jumped at me is that the victim used the word squishy. The ground was squishy. So that goes. I mean, that is such a childlike way of describing something. So it's like, I think when you kind of not harp, but you kind of say that she's a slow-witted young lady. Well, I don't think she is capable of processing things like a murder. Like, it's like, I think she really, like, she was in that SpongeBob SquarePants world. There is no such thing as...
No, I think Bella is a little slow.
No,
I think
that's what I mean.
Bella's not
Bella's-
understanding that her friends are really fucked up right now.
because okay, if you just happen to have two friends at that age that were planning on murdering you, okay, if they hit you in the head, I would be like, screw you guys, I'm going home.
Going home.
But that's probably because you had a group of friends. These kids had each other, and that's it.
Babe, sorry. Somebody tries to, like, crack my head into a cinder block in the bathroom, and I can see them, all three of them, in, like, a bathroom stall where they're trying to, like, crack her friggin' skull. It's like, at what point does the 12-year-old say, my friends are really, really not supportive of me?
All my friends were.
I mean, I've
really
never been that way, so I don't know. I don't know from that childhood. I don't.
All my friends at that age were committing crimes, so I was very well versed to when to not talk and when to move on.
Well,
These kids clearly that wasn't their thing. So
and then the fact that she would say to her, "Well, you know where the soft spots are, so you go ahead and you take the knife and put it into her soft spots."
there you go.
What 12-year-old is watching Doomsday Prepper shit either?
Not me.
No shit.
Okay.
I still haven't. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You were doing it.
She drunks on Bella, and she held her to the floor.
Where did Anissa do this?
Mm-hmm.
Where did this happen at?
In some trees,
How'd you guys end up in by the trees?
because we were going to look at, like, plants and stuff.
How far off the road was it?
Not very. And then we stabbed her
And you stopped her.
with a knife.
Who's talking right now? The psychopathic
That is
wacko child?
I believe when you see the male detective, that's Morgan.
Morgan.
The female would be Anissa. So that's
Thank you.
Stopped her from what?
Huh?
You stopped her from what?
A knife?
How did you stop her?
I said
Stabbed
stab.
her.
Oh, stabbed her.
Oh, I even knew that.
So this happened in the woods.
It wasn't in the woods, it was just a little group of trees. And I tell her she has to do it and to go ballistic, and then she asked when, and I said whatever you want, and she said I'm doing it when you want me to.
Shane, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry for pausing this. I had put it up already. Some kids just want friends and will tolerate abuse or mistreatment. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry for thinking this way, because
like an adult.
as most people, will tell you that knew me as a child that I was probably never a child. So I don't understand these type of people. Thank you, Trinity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I just don't understand this mentality is what it is, because I don't think I was ever this kid.
It's a head scratcher, but I tell you what, I'm sure at some point in my development, I was stupid enough to probably would have fallen for this shit. I mean, that's just, we all kind of spend a second or two in that stupid state. Some of us longer than others.
I know the adult you, so yeah.
So hold on. So she gives you the knife and says, you do it. And then I give it back to her and say, you do it. Go ballistic. And she said, okay, I'll go ballistic when you say you want me. I told her that
ballistic.
I didn't care when she
What 12-year-old uses that word?
She said, whatever. So I started walking away, and then when I was 5 feet away, I said now, and Morgan said, don't be afraid, I'm only a little kitty cat, and jumped on top of Bella and stabbed her repeatedly. Okay. She told me that she got her.
Think about that. Morgan tells Bella, who she's about to try to murder, don't be afraid, I'm just a little kitty cat.
Do you think she said it like Mr. Whiskers?
I got no shit. Don't involve me in this crap.
The lung right here 6 times, and then in the leg a few times. Okay. And then she walked away covered in blood, and then Peyton started screaming, I trusted you, I hate you all. And then I told her to lay down and be quiet because I didn't want attention being drawn. So I said, lay down and be quiet, you'll lose blood slower. So
she said that not meaning that she would lose blood slower, just that she didn't want attention.
Yeah, she was trying to get up. She said that she couldn't see, she couldn't walk, and that she couldn't breathe. Peyton was saying this? Yes. So after Morgan stabbed Peyton, did Morgan just get off of her and start walking away, or? Morgan got off of her when I turned around, and Peyton was wobbling around, holding up trees, saying, I hate you, get help. Okay. And that's when I told her to lay down and be quiet, you lose blood fat slower. Okay.
Oh, he's such a good guy.
Really, you just wanted her not to draw attention? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then, when Peyton was being stabbed, was she laying on the ground, or Morgan pushed her to the ground face first, and went ballistic.
Ballistic.
Okay. And then
I hate these kids, by the way.
So Peyton somehow gets herself to
I can't imagine why.
But she's wobbling, and then she collapses near a ditch, and then she says, I can't see, and she starts kind of crying and whimpering a little bit. Then, and then Morgan tries to clean a big wound on her leg with part of a leaf, but it didn't help that much. Why was she trying to do that? Because before this, Peyton was Morgan's best friend. Morgan was Peyton's only friend. So, it was hard for her to do that.
But she did, bitch.
Okay.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
It's all about her feelings.
Did Bella say anything when you guys were stabbing her?
She said two things, but it was afterwards. She said, I trusted you, and she said, I hate you. And she kept whispering, I can't see, over and over and over and over again. I can still hear it. I could cry with no tears, but you could hear her cry. And then, what were you guys doing, watching her? We were
slowly backing away because we took the opportunity to run.
Okay.
Like, she couldn't see us, so we took the opportunity to run.
Did you tell her you were gonna go get help?
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to actually get her help?
No.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to, but I knew Morgan wouldn't want me to. Because, like, we've planned this for a while.
So Adam, so you guys, how many times do you think you stabbed her?
I don't know. It happened very quickly. All I heard was screaming.
How many times did you guess?
I don't know.
So you ran through the woods or you run up the road?
We ran up the road. We were running and then we hid in tall, very tall grass. Not the tall grass that we were found in. And then these police officers showed up, so of course we hid.
Do you know which way you went then? What else did you see on your...
Well, Lisa said that we had to go to Walmart to refill our water bottles, and we did.
Which Walmart?
I don't know.
Is it like a food store one?
No.
The one over
It's a huge one.
on West Avenue?
Mm-hmm. So we refilled our water bottles and went to the bathroom and washed the blood off our hands.
So nice.
Will I regret giving you this information later?
Yes, you will, douchebag.
Just talking about it? The two of you? Has anybody else known about it?
No.
So how did you know how to...
Will
what
I
were you
regret?
trying to do with her when you stabbed her?
Kill her.
Kill her. I might as well just say it. We were trying to kill her.
And so she said, well, we have to kill Bella to prove ourselves to the Slender.
Yes.
And what did you think of this when she was telling you?
I was surprised, but, like, also kind of excited.
Of course you were.
I wanted proof that he existed, because there were a bunch of skeptics out there saying that he didn't exist.
Yeah, because it's
And
fake.
there's a bunch of photos online and sources online saying that they did see him.
Okay. So a lot of people believe that Slender actually exists.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of talk about this on the internet, I bet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you...
I just have to say one thing. The internet is the devil, and it literally has destroyed us as a society. It really has. I mean, there's great things about it. I mean, I can Google anything I want at any time during the day and find information on how to unscrew this stupid fucking knob on my mic, or, you know, what's going on with my internet, or, you know, what's the best MacBook to buy and shit like that. But this seedy underbelly of the internet,
And
where
this is just skimming the surface too.
oh my God, yeah. I mean, you know, just even the thought about how Instagram wanted to do a children-only Instagram, knowing fully well that children are so attached to their
quick did-
bodies and how they look, and making sure that they're beautiful for all their friends, and all their friends
I
giving
heard-
them so much praise. What, babe? I'm sorry.
I heard John Hine was the first one to sign up for that.
Well, they wound up taking it away because obviously the cat was out of the bag.
Yeah,
But we
think-
as a society, these children are emblematic of what has happened to us.
This is who we are moving forward.
I mean,
the good
seriously,
old
what the
days
fuck was the
are-
worst thing I did at 12 was make a crank phone call to like a girl I hated this fucking fat ugly monster named Michelle. And I made a crank phone call to her house one night. And it was I had a sleepover at my other girlfriend's home, and we just breathed really, really like into the phone. This is the worst thing.
Oh, so that was you.
Yes, this is the worst thing I did at 12. Like the
Yeah.
worst thing.
I think
Would I
everybody-
ever think of
I
like
think-
killing Michelle like in the schoolyard? Never. Like, who does that?
Everybody's going through their little Rolodex in their head right now, and our audience going like, "What did I do at 12? Oh, fuck." It's like I left the Playboy Channel scrambled signal on when and my dad walked in. So it was like,
Did I ever tell you the story about how one time, they always fuck something up over at the video store because, you go to the video store and you'd look to see what was in. And of course, never was anything that you really wanted to see in. So my
Never.
mother decides, that she's going to pick up Flash Gordon because, that
Flash Gordon or Flash?
Okay, that's the point of the story, fucker.
Yes, okay.
So she picks up Flash Gordon, and I'm like, oh my god, so cool. I love Ming the Merciful. Oh, I love all that shit. And we put it on, and it's Flesh Gordon. And
The classic. And didn't they have Sam J. Jones in both of the movies? He starred in both of them, right?
Okay, I don't know enough. All I know
I'm
is
pretty sure
that
it
there
was.
were titties and asses and penises, and I'll never forget. I put it in because, of course, as soon as like something walked into the house, Monique had to watch it immediately on the one TV we had, and my mother's cooking in the kitchen, and you can see the living room TV from where she is, and I'm sitting there on the couch with my eyes just staring.
Flesh. Savior of the universe.
And all of a sudden, she turns around with a wooden spoon in her hand, and she's like, "What? How old could I have been?" She's like, "What the fuck are you watching?" I'm like, "I don't know. You brought it home. I don't know. I don't know. I assume this is Flash Gordon." And she ran over to the VCR.
Pretty sure it had the same
button, and the
actor in
VCR
it.
was like this big. You know what I mean? It was like gigantic. And she's pushing the fucking every button known to mankind.
Trying to
She
figure
rips
out-
it out.
Yeah.
And of course she went over. Of course she went over to the
Video store.
video store and screamed at them. And apparently,
Did she say, "How do I get a copy"?
this was for me. Damn it, me, not for her. Yeah.
Oh
that's-
my god, I remember.
I digressed.
I see. I knew I was conscious of the fact there was a Flash Gordon, but I only saw the Dino De Laurentiis Flash Gordon with Queen soundtrack on it.
Yeah.
I remember that movie. Clyde is on board. What plaything do you have for me today?
I am also going to tell you that I think there was some homosexuality in it. Not gonna lie.
Probably.
I think I have like PTSD from seeing my first male on male anal insertion.
Was it one of the Hawkmen
in a spacecraft?
doing it birdie style?
It was really not fun.
Just a man with courage.
It's a good reason I remained a
know
virgin
he's-
for a very long time after that. All right, let's continue with these horrible cunty children. Go on. Flash. Okay, are you pressing play, or you want me to press
I'll
play?
do it. That's no problema.
Oh,
After that interlude.
So you at first thought,
What's wrong with me?
At first I was kind of surprised and didn't want to do it, but later I didn't want to leave Morgan all by herself out here because who knows how many creeps are out here, so I decided to
Oh yeah, no killer creeps, right?
let it be. Kind of prove skeptics wrong.
so you thought it would be exciting to find out, hey, if we can be a proxy and prove and do this, kill Bella, then we know that Slender exists.
If we saw him, actually, we think we see him sometimes.
Okay.
Like when we were walking up to where we were going, we saw him, like, I saw him out of the corner of my eye on this side.
Okay.
And then Morgan said she
So delusional as well.
Absolutely.
heard a twig crack when no one was moving.
Did you think that you guys killed Morgan? Bella?
Yeah.
Okay, so that concludes that portion of the. And so basically, after that, they went on trial. They were tried as adults.
Which was a big issue. It was a big point of contention at the time because they were
So-
12 years old, obviously.
Yes. So Anissa was sentenced to 25 years to life, involving at least 3 years locked in confinement. She actually recently completed, so this is 2014, she completed her court mandated therapy and is eligible to be released this year.
Yes, she will be released this year.
Earlier this year,
They've approved it.
Yeah, it was approved, but as of a few weeks ago, she had not been released.
As of yet. But the other one was sentenced to 40 years. 40 years. And before we leave those two fucking morons, I did want to add that her father was also schizophrenic and used to have an Instagram account which was called Dead Boy. And he was proud of the fact that Morgan was into Slender Man. And he used to post, Morgan used to make little sketches of Slender Man with like tentacles coming out of his back and things like that. And he was, proud of her. And I think schizophrenia definitely runs in families. And Morgan was definitely put out there as being a lot more disturbed than Anissa was in terms of her ultimate.
Well, she has since been full-blown diagnosed with schizophrenia. So that's
yes, and so she's medicated. She's in this unknown. Actually, they don't actually have a notification as to where she resides right now. But I do know that her mother has a Facebook account where she's just really super upset that nobody is, she's a little girl. She didn't deserve to have this done to her. And it's like, bitch, your child stabbed somebody 20 some odd times.
19 times.
They are so lucky to be alive right now. What would your thought process have been had she killed her? And she wanted to kill her. So
according to John Kellerman, who was the surgeon who attended to Bella, one of the stab wounds came 1 millimeter away from her heart. They say it had the knife gone in the width of a human hair, 100% she would have bled out. She had a stab wound to her chest, to her diaphragm, and to her abdomen, which were all three of them in themselves would have been lethal given if enough time, which means if the bicyclist wouldn't have found her, it would have been fatal wounds. She had other defensive and superficial wounds on her that weren't life-threatening, but those 3 wounds in themselves were enough to end her life.
But yet, see, were we talking about it last week? Was it last week's show where we were talking about how parents come to or was it something on the forum where, it's the Brian Laundrie thing that's going on with this Gabby Petito, where parents, everybody's like, they should have told them where Brian, they should have done this, but all parents.
Yes, Cindy Lou Who, Bella did survive.
Yes, Bella did survive, shockingly enough. And there's a great YouTube video from some show on ABC where she came out and talked about, how horrific it was. So it's a good listen to just hear what happened with that. But I'm just talking about like how Brian Laundrie, the parents are protecting him. Parents will always protect their child. As much as everybody says, they're so fucked up, they're this, they're that. Parents will always protect their child. Whether they're psychos or fuck-ups or killers or drug addicts or whatever it is, they will protect that child. That's it. End of story. And this mother is still, trying to get Anissa, is it? No, sorry, Morgan. Is trying to, and Morgan has the right to come up for board assertion that she's no longer needed to be into the mental facility, like every 6 months or a year or something like that. Whereas Anissa signed something that said, I won't
She
even
cut a deal.
attempt to try for release for a minimum of 3 years.
So, as far as we know, they're both still incarcerated.
But I think the other one is getting out.
Anissa has been approved to be released. It hasn't happened yet, unless it happened in the last few days. But yeah, we're talking about something that happened 2014, and they're still paying the consequences of it. Rightfully
Good,
so.
as they should. Fuck them. Fuck them.
yeah.
I don't care about them, even slightly.
Yeah.
They can go fuck themselves. They tried to kill someone. Listen, you know what? I don't care if you're 12 or 14 or 10. You know, if something in your mind makes you think that you should end the life of something, and you know, how do most serial killers start? They kill animals, you know, they kill cats, they kill dogs, they happily cut the throat of an animal, you know, and that is the telltale sign, if you will, of somebody who is psychotic, schizophrenic. What's the other word for what's his face that you love to use?
Cuckoo crazy?
Okay, yeah, it's cuckoo crazy, but it's just interesting. And the reason that we decided to do this one this week was because, you know, this is the first internet generated
Boogeyman.
scare fest and boogeyman.
This is like the legit. There's a million creepy stories on Reddit and stuff. Some are amazing, but none of them have generated the kind of like chaos and just sheer fucking weirdness that Slender Man did for some fucking reason. And if you look at him, he really is not the most scary as of looking of whatever. So
Yeah, I wanted to just read something here. Chris said, Mo, do you believe that Brian may be in the backyard under their new garden? Also, you are 110% correct. Parents will always protect their kids regardless. I think Brian actually fled. I think that he knows, you know, he choked Gabby Petito. Listen, I hate to even say it. I really do, and I know that so many people will probably be against me about this, but you know, they both were very toxic with each other. And so she would yell at him, he would yell at her, they would get into these fights with each other. They should have never done this. They were very young to be engaged. They were very young to be living together.
I want.
What?
I think that's another show. I really want to finish this last little segment. It's the second. It's very brief because unlike the other, the last two girls, there wasn't a murder, but there was an attempted murder, and I think the juvenile courts have kind of done a really good job of kind of covering these girls. So this is Lily Marie Hartman. Just plus play. There's no audio to this. We'll just kind of read and look at what's going on. Okay. So Lily Marie Hartman, like Anissa, was very much into Slender Man and into that kind of, you know, that gothic. You know, she's 14 years old, barely 14, and
an adult.
You know, and unlike the other parents, she was actually told to not, like, to cut the shit out. So Lily Hartman is a 14-year-old raised Florida, allegedly soaked a towel in bedsheet in bleach and rum and used them to light. So she went. So basically, she got one of those. You go to bed right now. You're not allowed to do this from her mom. So at 1 in the morning, she goes into her garage. There's a mattress there. She puts it on the ground, puts these accelerants on them, and lights it, and walks away with her mother and her 9-year-old brother sleeping like babies inside the house. And if not for the fact that the smoke alarms were working, it would have been 2 homicides. So this is her house. So
oh, nice.
This is what
looks like Florida.
It is definitely Florida.
Okay.
Was it the Hyundai? Was that the giveaway? But no. So yeah. So here you have yet another case of another kid who is deeply disturbed, into Slender Man. Slender Man's kind of saying, you know, doing these, you know, somehow telling her to do this shitty shit, and she was very heavily involved in Slender Man on Facebook. So another reason to hate Mark Zuckerberg. So in this kind of, she lived in this fantasy, fucked up world that that Slender Man created. So we don't know what happened to her. At least I couldn't find it. Once again, she was a juvenile. The courts did a really good job of.
Yeah, but they did a great job of taking two 12-year-olds and sending them away for 40 years.
Here it is. In fact, because at this point this was the second or third Slenderman related crime, law enforcement officials said that the teen was fixated on the fictional Slenderman internet meme, posted about it on her Facebook, and regularly visited websites that detailed the first Slenderman stabbing in June. So she was a fanboy of Morgan and Anissa.
Oh, good for her.
And so, and the third one, which was completely scrubbed due to
From the webs?
From the webs. Well, I don't even know if it even made it to the webs. I think the courts did a really good job. Well, they did their job of actually, concealing this girl's identity. So, 12-year-old girl into Slender Man. She was clearly took it a little too far, and now that these other two stories had, made the rounds on the news, she decided she wore all black outfit with a white sort of mask over her face, and when her mom came home, she found her daughter in this kitchen and stabbed her repeatedly. Nice. Ended up having defensive wounds. Called the police. Ambulance came, and everybody was taken to where they needed to be taken. But that's all we know of the story, because they made it a point
also
to make
scrubbed.
to make it protect. We don't know who that girl is. Her name's not on the internet or all that stuff. So you have three little pigs, three little stories of what
monsters
kids will do when put in the right circumstances.
I did want to add one thing onto the Slender Man story before just talking a couple of minutes about some other boogeyman internet kind of things. But there's something called the Slender Man sickness, and it's it's kind of like David Copperfield giving you the feeling of an illusion, and if you choose to believe that something is real, then it is. And
yes, absolutely.
They really focus on the hypochondriac and knowing that there's so many people out there that if they read symptoms to something, that they will in fact have said symptoms. And on the Slenderman wiki, let me see if I can share it. And I hate to try and share this shit because I get clicky.
It's kind of a group hallucination type of thing.
Yes.
Where people just.
What was it? You called it the. It does have a little something to do with the Mandela effect. It does have something to do with people thinking that if we all think
about
that
it
it's
long
true,
enough,
that it is.
It becomes reality.
Right. So here's this wiki on the Slender Man, right? And there's something called the Slender Man sickness. They put a note on the top that says, if you have any of these symptoms, instead of yapping about it to us and freaking out, see a doctor. So they're really kind of a little bit douchey about it, but
they're conscious of the fact that there's some sickies out there.
Yeah, so there's people that think that they have run into the Slender Man, and because of it, they get these coughing fits and they cough up blood, and then they have that along with occasional nausea, paranoia, vomiting, and extreme exhaustion due to encountering and being stalked by the Slender Man. And then you just look at all these comments underneath them, where they're like, yes, that is exactly what happened to me. What do I do about it? How do I fix myself? What do I do? And you know that none of it is fucking true, and that all they're doing is feeding into a paranoia that they made up. they created. They created
It's almost
this
like a
paranoia.
weird cosplay.
Yes,
Where,
it's like crazy
one
cosplay.
second you're Dark Nihilist, and the next thing you know, you're getting married in stormtrooper costumes.
Okay, well, that's a sad truth of how people are. But
Well, I'm just talking about in a weird way, Slender Man is the polar opposite of like Santa Claus, in that Santa Claus is clearly a make believe holly jolly guy that lives in the North Pole, but in spite of that, people go around doing good deeds this time of year. They end up donating to people. They end up doing extra stuff so they can provide gifts for their kids and stuff like that. So it's, even though it's something that's a fictional character, it has real world repercussions positively in this case. And I think Slender Man is the opposite of that. And it's clearly a fictional character, but it ended up manifesting real world consequences.
I guess, the other thing I was going to talk about tonight, there's a whole wave of kind of like, they're called like deadly teen crazes, right? So Slender Man was probably the start of that. And then you hear about all these different challenges. And then you hear about kids like
Yes, we know, John.
eating Tide Pods. And
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And guess what? Next year there'll be something else.
Right. And
It's just there's no shortage of. I mean, Reddit recently had to stop doing people from posting like a milk crate challenge or something like that because people were like breaking their faces and stuff, little kids. So it's like it's always something. This just happens
kids
to be.
Kids are stupid. The only one that I can kind of associate with this one, and of course that's why I named myself Momo tonight,
Tripods,
was because of the oh no, where's my Momo thing, baby?
That's a good one though.
What is
I
this?
like that. I like this. This is actually Morgan's little book of drawings and clues. And if you see that Barbie at the bottom right, she actually ended up doing things to that Barbie. Is kind of like a.
Can you scroll down to it a little bit for us?
Okay, hang on a second.
And just click on it so we can see it bigger.
Okay, here. So
okay, what about that?
She did here. You'll see. It's kind of like, like
she's
she's practicing. That's where she was going to stab her. So she did.
Morgan's so delicious. She's so precious.
Never mind the fact that she's still playing with Barbies. So that goes to show you.
She's 12.
Yeah, and like so she cut her arms off and stuff. So she was like that. Sid next door to Andy's house in Toy Story.
What's this one over here? I like this one on the far right. What's all the way on the far right?
Okay.
Yeah, what's that one?
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was mutilating her Barbies, and mentally
I cut my Barbie's hair off, but that's
preparing herself for things to come. And here's the sad. This is a picture of all three of them. Anissa on the right, Morgan on the middle, Bella on the left. You see that picture?
Yeah, see, they were those kids. They were those kids that nobody wanted to be friends with, let's be honest.
Yeah, well.
A little bit chunky and nerdy and, whatever.
Yeah, you can see her nice little...
I love killing people? What's that from?
This is... Okay, all the stuff you see here by pencil is Morgan's little journal that she kept. And she did mostly, like... things that related to killing and Slender Man. So,
okay, well, I want to get out of that, and I want you to. Can you please put up Momo?
Absolutely.
So this one was another internet craze that was not true, and got parents and people believing that. That this was something that was actually happening. Most of these challenges it turned out to be completely bogus, obviously. And, tell me when you have it, sweetie.
Sorry.
You're exactly right, Chris. That's exactly fucking right. Cool kids don't do this weird shit. We were too busy being cool. You are so goddamn right. You know,
Oh,
it's those weirdo peripheral children who
That's
do like this. What?
That was me.
Oh, no, don't say that was you. I always think that I would have been friends with you when you were
Oh,
younger.
you would have been so mistaken.
No, I think. Okay.
Okay,
And
so
I think I still am this
okay,
adult.
so I got Momo up if you want to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
still also that adult that I
Mo,
feel
hey,
like
Mo.
I can make people better.
Not be psychopaths. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about was Momo. So you guys may or may not recall fucking Momo. This
I
was
do
like a big
not.
thing.
It looks like something in
Probably about
Beetlejuice.
3 years ago, where they were saying that this character, this creature, blow up one of them just so we can see it.
Which one? Which one do you want?
Oh, just pick whatever you want. Whatever's going to come up big.
Sure.
So she was like some creepy internet meme called Momo. And the theory or the story was that she was telling children to kill themselves. So if you go to maybe like the second picture in,
just like Ozzy in the 80s.
Yeah, no.
Wine is fine, but
Sweetie, swing down a
whiskey's-
little bit. Stop. Swing down just a little bit. Just no, where the picture is to the right.
Oh.
Swing down just a little. Keep going, just a snurch. This was right here, far
Wait,
right,
what?
far right,
This
far
one?
right. Last one on the top row. Okay, what this was basically was a Japanese artist did a figurine, and that's what it actually looks like with these really creepy clawed hands, and it's sitting on a
So
piece
attractive.
of metal. But they took this and made it into a internet meme telling people that they were killing themselves because of Momo. None of it was true. Nobody ever died because of it. But it scared the shit out of so many children that they...
I can't imagine why.
No kidding. That is like really, honestly, one of the like ugliest evil faces that I have ever seen.
I've dated worse.
No, you haven't. Oh, don't tell me that. That ruins my whole thought of who you are.
Wine is fine, but whiskey's weaker. Suicide. Yeah.
Okay.
Come on. We have to end this on a positive note. What's more positive than Ozzy and
How
suicide?
could okay? I'm getting out of the boogeyman person there. So yeah. So Anissa is serving 40 years in a state mental facility. The other one is probably going to be released this year.
Cuckoo.
Let's see what else.
I don't trust either one of them. Fuck that.
2014. Yeah, so there's a really interesting ABC News thing about it. There's also a Netflix or HBO Max documentary
Yes.
about Slender Man. So if there's anything more you wanted to know about them,
Shelley Duvall.
yes,
Good on.
absolutely. Oh my God, babe! You know what would be a great story? Is
Oh
to
my God, there's a woman. She attacked Danny.
is to dig into The Shining. I would love to do that. You know, both you and I, it's one of our absolute
We could
favorite
literally do
movies.
it right now. Like just free ball it.
Yeah, we could freeball The Shining. I could easily freeball The Shining. And I want you all to know that both me and Xavier have this, which is the coolest thing ever known to mankind. I'm going to show you right now.
Yeah.
So I bought this for me and for X a couple of years ago. This is a Shining snow globe. They only made like 100 of them. And
Yes.
it's the maze
You
that's
can't touch mine.
inside. And on the back of it are the two axes. And the only reason I also have one is because they fucked up and by mistake they sent me two instead of one. How cool is this snow globe? Where do you have yours, babe?
I have it in my Stephen King shelf.
So yeah, so we love The Shining and we love the whole Overlook Hotel thing.
Yes.
And I would love to do a Halloween show on The Shining. I think that would be like a really fun thing for us to do. Oh, Jesus!
Okay. Shining.
My gorilla fell
It
off
is
of...
the shining.
My
It
gorilla
is the
fell off the...
shining, shining. Oh, you hear that?
What was that?
That's the Overlook calling me. Or my dog scratching her ear. One or two.
My gorilla fell. My little things fell.
You know,
Okay,
The
that is
Shining
right.
has been like psychoanalyzed and dissected, and but yeah, I'm up for it. Absolutely.
I like a Shining. I like a Shining show.
Who fucking yeah.
But
You know
we
what?
are going to do the Cecil Hotel
Dr.
first.
Sleeve. Listen, I saw Dr. Sleeve, and I think it was a best case scenario for that story, and I think they lingered too long. I think an editor could have made a much better cut of that movie. I think they had like everything kind of in play, but I think they dragged it out a little too long.
You're probably right. All right, so we're going to do a Cecil Hotel one. I would love the Shining idea. I'm not going to lie. And I think we could totally freeball that one.
My girls didn't care for the Overlook, sir. One of them
And
used a
you
pair
know,
of matches to
Xavier
start,
knows so many stupid,
try to
creepy...
light it, and I had to discipline her. And then when my wife tried to stop me, I had to discipline her too.
Xavier, do you remember when I sent you
No.
a picture, the old Overlook Hotel picture from the early 1900s?
Yes.
And I put your face in it somewhere?
Yes.
Did you ever
yes.
find it?
No. No. And the window in the office you're referring to the impossible window. There's actually quite a few impossible things that happen in that movie that are not really really overt. Like, for example, like we all know that they hold the record for the most takes for one scene with Shelley Long. I believe they did a few hundred takes for one. With that in mind, the fact that when they go into the refrigerator, to show them where all the stuff is, when they walk in, the door opens one way. When they leave, the door opens a totally different way. And for Kubrick, who is such a stickler for details, people don't think that any of that was done by accident.
Listen to me, Renaissance man.
Also,
right now.
there's a scene. There's a scene when Shelley Duvall goes into the furnace, and she goes in, and nothing really happens. She goes down there, and you see the boilers and stuff. You get a really creepy, unsettling feeling, like something's going to happen in that scene, but it doesn't. One of the reasons you get that feeling is if you look at the valves above the boilers, they're actually physically placed like they were eyes, like if the room had eyes, and they're kind of following her. And it's really creepy. It's a very almost a subliminal type of imagery that Stanley Kubrick used for that scene.
Okay, save it for another show because we will definitely do that. And Renaissance Man, yes, I am calling you out right now. Don't you owe me at all. At the beginning of the show, we said that I'm having...
Yes, I love Stephen King.
I'm having some
I know
internet
you hated
issues, and yes, there's some popping and
Well,
some crackling.
you know what?
And...
You know what? I think it was an ambiance to the whole...
Yeah, just pretend there's like a nice fireplace going on behind me, and that's what you're hearing is the fireplace crackling
Jack
and
Frost.
popping in the background.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
You're in trouble. And by the
Jack-
way, that looks like a picture that you would have put
He did
on
torture
your...
Shelley.
Huh?
He did torture Shelley Long. Absolutely.
Okay, I was gonna pick on Renaissance Man. I know he loves us, but I'm not gonna pick on him.
He isolated her too from the rest of the cast.
What are we talking about? What are
Shelley
you?
Long. I'm already on the Shining episode of our. Literally, if people type something about the Shining, I guarantee you, I know something about it.
Yeah, he does. It's really kind of scary.
It's
If
called
nobody else is going to
being-
say it, happy
it's
October to everyone. Yes, that's true.
It's called being a loser.
So we love Stephen King, we love Stanley Kubrick, and so the merging of the two, even though we all know Stephen King hated that
Stephen
version.
King is a national treasure.
Yes,
he is literally Herman Melville and all these other amazing writers. Now, he is absolutely a treasure of a man, and I met him once. I didn't really meet him. I was in Bar Harbor, Maine. He came in to a bookstore, and it's so scary. I froze like a bitch. I wanted to so go over and say hi to him, but he had this resting bitch face like you won't believe. Like Randall Flagg fucking type of bitch face. And he came in, he got whatever he got, and he left. And I was like, that was my one time to say, hey, thanks for the books, dude.
You know what? I know where he lives in Florida, which is not too far from where
we should
am.
do like a.
And
We're gonna stalk him.
Babe, I would kill for you to come down to fucking Florida.
Yes, he wrote
stalk him with
Shawshank
me.
Redemption, which, by the way, won the Oscar for the stupidest idol for a movie that year.
I love Shawshank, though. Once we know when Howard and Beth are going to be in Florida, I'm going to drive over to my girlfriend Peggy in Palm Beach, and we're going to go stalk.
Midnight and the stars and you.
Oh my God, stop
Midnight.
it. See how much you love this topic? This is going to be a perfect topic for us. We'll save it for another show.
Held a message tender. How
you know
great
how funny
is that?
it is
how
to
great
see
is
like
to hear,
a baby
how wonderful
Pomeranian
is
with
it?
an eye glass and a top hat.
That
talking about
scene
this?
at the end where they go into the Golden Hall and you hear Ray Nobel and his orchestra slowly start being potted up, and you see that black and white pictures, and it slowly starts just coming in there, and you see July 4th, 1923 or whatever it was.
I know G Canada. I'm like, come stalk him with me. Let's go.
Yes.
He actually hates it.
Everybody. Yeah. Let's stalk Stephen King. Let's stalk Stephen King.
Well, you know what we just read the other day, actually.
Oh,
the
you know
all
what?
work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
We just fucked up, by the way. We cursed everybody. Fuck. Let's talk someone else. Let's talk the guy who did Transformers. Who's that one guy?
No, let's talk about this. Remember yesterday or a couple of days ago, we were talking about all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yes.
And how
they did different international versions of that. So someone
international
had to
versions did a different version of
Spanish,
that wording.
French.
And they had to do hundreds of pages of hand-typed wording in different languages.
I think that this, in Spanish it became El lápiz está en la cocina. We became unhinged. When was I actually hinged? Dude.
Oh my God. I don't even know what to say.
Mangez-moi s'il vous plaît? Oh, mon.
I don't even know what to say to you anymore. When was that phrase first introduced in print? I don't know. I know, Chris, you're going to tell us, so I'm waiting for that.
Oh, France.
Xavier's becoming unhinged. Oh, please. Baby. Seriously?
That ship sailed a long time ago.
That ship sailed. I mean, I sometimes will call him with messages of hate just because, he's not answering in the way I want him to. And you laugh. You're such a dick. I hate you. I hate you more than life itself. 1659 in France. Oh, interesting. I'm going to have to look into that. Yes, The Shining still creeps me out to this day, too. The first time I saw it, I remember
the commercial when I was a little kid. I don't think I was like 9 or something.
So scary.
And remember seeing that, just hearing that music and Jack Nicholson hobbling on the snow with that axe, and then you see The Shining. It's scary. Like, oh, mommy. Oh, God, I was such a bitch. Well, I'm probably still a bitch, but whatever.
You're still a bitch.
I've learned to accept it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, The Shining. Okay, episode Three House of Horror, episode 5. The first story is The Shining. You mean Shining? Boy, you want to get us sued? It's absolutely one episode. In fact, Noodles brought. We're doing a Treehouse of Horror because it was on last week, and she mentioned that, and it's like episode 5 of Treehouse of Horror might quite possibly be the most perfect cartoon in the history of cartoons.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I'll do the Pepsi challenge versus any episode of any cartoon ever. Treehouse of Horror, episode 5.
All right, whatever you say. You still didn't help me with my clicking, but that's, just gonna have to live with it.
It's I think it'll change soon. So
at some point in the near future, because now I am in shitty, rainy Pennsylvania. I'll be going to a place with better internet, and hopefully this will not happen anymore. Oh my God! Thank you for this, late Johnny Troiano. Thank
Merci
you guys.
beaucoup.
Kick rock. By the way. Well, a freshman at USC, summer of '85, I worked across the street from the Cecil Hotel.
Oh, that
and
is
ran
one of
into
our-
Richard Rodriguez when he was a hotel. Stop it!
That is amazing.
Stop
that
it!
Is one of our hearings. That's one of the things we're going to do, even if we have to push past.
Babe, are you even reading this though? Are you
met
kidding
Richard
me?
Ramirez with the gaunt skin and the bad teeth, and he stayed at the Cecil Hotel for on and off. In fact, when he was actually caught, he was on his way back from Arizona, and he got off the bus by the Cecil Hotel, and he had been ID'd at the time. His wanted picture was all over the place, and people were like, "Ahí está, el matador, el matador," and people started chasing him, and he ran for his life, and he ran into the hoodie hood. The people, they got a hold of him. This Mexican guy hit him with a piece of rebarb over his head, and they were gonna kill him, and the cops saved him, which is fucked up.
Johnny, I love your story, and we are doing Cecil Hotel. I think
We
that's
are.
our next episode, right?
It can be.
Oh wait, do we want to do Shining next, or do we want?
It doesn't matter.
It
You know what?
doesn't
At this point, I'm pretty sure we're going to push past Halloween with these. We're gonna do these because they're fun, and we're gonna keep going
we enjoy it.
And we might take a couple of weeks off at times, but we're gonna keep doing these because Because they're fun.
And I will tell you something. I get a lot of PMs from people and
Islos.
emails about people who grew up across the street from murderers or people that were found to be serial killers. I mean, the stories are just amazing to me, and I would love to get into that at some point and talk about growing up next to a murderer. And how that was and how that felt. I remember when I was a little girl and I lived around the corner from, it was this really weirdo family. Not shockingly, they lived across the street from Michelle, who
by
I
the
couldn't
way-
stand. Wait, I have to tell you this. And
Yes.
and so it was this kid who was probably autistic, and I'm gonna say kid, but he was probably in his 30s or 40s, and he lived with his mother, and I would walk past there all the time because my best friend lived down the block from there, and the house was super creepy, and I parked my car next door in a garage that was next door to there, an open garage. And you started to, after a couple of weeks, and it was the summertime, and you started to smell the smell, and it just became stronger and stronger and stronger. And everybody's like, what the fuck is that smell? And it wound up that the mother killed the son because she couldn't take taking care of him anymore, and then killed herself. And because they had no friends or other family, they were in that house stewing basically for, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks or something like that. And you could smell that smell blocks away. And it's one of those smells you never forget. The moment you smell death, you never forget that's a fucking thing.
Honestly, I've smelled it a couple of times, and it's kind of like a dead dog. It really isn't that much different.
Well, sometimes I've had dead mice in the house, and it kind of smells the same. It's like a kind of feral, gross chemical smell that doesn't smell like anything else in your lifetime. Kind of grossness. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I had to say that.
Wendy,
I just really
darling, light of my life, I'm not going to hurt you.
Are you talking to me, or are you talking as Jack right now? Because you're a weirdo, and I don't know what you're saying.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
When Anthony Hopkins played Alfred Hitchcock, they used a device that he talks to Ghost Ed Gein. It reminded me of what you guys are doing with the creepy stories, but I thought it distracted. Curious. That's interesting. Yeah, I loved our Ed Gein thing. Toy Box Killer. Okay, I'll look into that, Roberto. Roberto.
The Toy Box
I don't know.
Killer
Why
is,
don't you like your first name if
the
Roberto is your
Toy
second
Box,
name?
Just so you know, the Toy Box Killer is the one image of the girl wearing the dress.
Oh, okay. So we did a picture tells a story,
Yes.
and that's the Toy Box Killer. That's exactly right. I hated that show. I hated that show. I hate all these shows actually, because once you start to do the deep dive into them, it really affects you a little bit, and it's amazing to me how we do these shows and are able to actually sleep at night. Not gonna lie.
I'm gonna tell you guys, going through clips of some of the stuff, it really can be a little brutal. I mean, it is what it is. It's like you go to bed like, holy shit! I don't know what time you have to listen to this fucking kid talk about murdering her fucking friend.
Well, this was an easier show because, I hadn't pulled any clips of like what she looked like when they found her or the death photos. I will tell you though that the show we did last week with the Amityville thing and the Cielo Drive thing really, really bothered me. And the fact that people can be so monstrous to other human beings always amazes me, and and looking at the pictures of how many times they stabbed people and how many times they made a point of making sure that they were dead is really the most horrific thing that a human being can do. It really is.
Yes.
And so we're here to shine that light on monsters.
Just remember this, Mo. My predecessor in this job left a man named Charles Grady as a winter caregiver, and he came up here with his wife and 2 little girls. I think they were 8 and 10, and he had a good employment record, good references, and from what I've heard, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he may have suffered some kind of complete mental breakdown. He ran amok, killed his family with an axe, stacked them neatly in one room, and then went into the west wing. Then he put both barrels of a shotgun in his mouth.
All right, you're a really creepy motherfucker too, and I can't believe that I'm as good a friend of yours as I am.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.
So thank you for being with us. Oh, wait, I have a new thing. Wait, babe.
Okay.
You didn't see my cute new little thing that I have.
Before we go,
ready? Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, look. Like, comment, subscribe,
Ooh.
and hit the little bell.
Yay.
Look how cute that is.
So cute. Murder.
It's so cute. It's so cute to like and subscribe with a Mickey Mouse hand because,
not everything has to be fucking serious in our lives. This is
Okay.
the only thing that's actually deathly serious in my life. Yeah, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And
Thank you, everybody,
this is
for
a new
joining us.
channel for us. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, so we're super excited about that. And we are excited that you guys actually listened to us and paid attention to the show because we know we do it as a complete indulgence. And hopefully it'll be something that we do for going forward. And that's it. All right. Thank you, everybody who participated. Thank you,
Whatever
everybody who
happened-
contributed to us tonight. We love you all for doing so. And
Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist?
and next week we are going to be doing some Stern shows. So I know that John
Yay.
Arm is working really hard
Chair,
on getting
Jackie
together
Chair, Jackie Chair.
a Gary Part 2 thing because we never even got to the pitch in terms of our Hate Gary
Baba
show.
Booey.
And we are definitely working on the Eric the Midget / Eric the Actor show. You all know I can't stand him. And the boys will be there to prove me wrong. So we'll see how that goes. So so we'll definitely be doing 2 or 3 Stern shows in the next 2 weeks or so. And then Xavier, whom I adore more than life itself, will probably do a show together next week, Saturday, same bed time, same bed channel. You're such a weirdo. You really are. You're such a weirdo. It's the thing I appreciate the most about you. All right, so good night, everybody. You stay there for a quick second, and we will see you next.